Now, it has been very smoky in Sydney the past few days. Now, I know this is going to be a great shock to a lot of people on Twitter and many people in the media, but most people in Australia don't live in Sydney. They are not obsessed with what is happening in Sydney. They are also not losing their mind about the smoke that is created by bushfires. Now, it's very uncomfortable. I'm sorry to everyone who has respiratory issues and all the rest of it. I know that little kids, older people, I know it's a problem. But today they were screaming that not enough people were asking the Prime Minister questions about this. Well, the Prime Minister was talking about, among other things, Australians who have died in that volcanic explosion in New Zealand. He also spoke...
The fact is that these crews, yes, they're tired, but they also want to be out there defending their communities. And so we do all we can to rotate their shifts to give them those breaks, but equally, and in many cases, you've got to hold them back to make sure they get that rest. And I thank them all for what they're doing, particularly all those who support them.
And that should be the focus. The thousands of people who for weeks on end have been putting out the fires. We are incredibly good at fighting bushfires in Australia. I get it, the smoke is uncomfortable. But remember, these bushfires were lit by human beings, as 85% of all bushfires that happen in Australia all century. No one disputes that fact. But that science seems to be left out. And if you want to know the difference in character between two former Prime Ministers, there's the ghost who goes on Channel 2 to make points about climate change, while Tony Abbott is out fighting the very bushfires that are causing this smoke. I'll take Abbott any day. Also, The Guardian is leading the charge. Remember, these were the people who said that Scott Morrison had one of his worst weeks as Prime Minister before, of course, Newspoll went up, because they're obsessed with, among others, the Canberra-Colombo game and the rest. But anything they can to try to tie the Prime Minister to bushfire smoke. These people are out of their tree. But remember, they don't care about bushfires, because bushfires are just an excuse to talk about climate change politics. They don't care about the drought. It's just an excuse to talk about climate change politics. I repeat, those that fight the fires are the ones that we are with, and those that are in the line of fire we are absolutely with. But a little note to many of the media who cover national television: the country's bigger than Sydney. As important as Sydney is, as much as I love it, smoke isn't everywhere.